Dear friends, this is the webinar of Central Baltic project CB CBSmallPorts. So CB CBSmallPorts officially started in March 2020, but as all you know, COVID-19 started the same time. So we got to real action with this project after summer holiday season on 2020, and we have two main themes of the project. So first of all, energy efficiency of the small ports, and we are having also a lot of investments that relate for energy efficiency and environmental friendliness. And on the other hand, the second theme is energetic small ports, so how we can have a joint marketing of the whole Central Baltic region as a sailing and boating destination. And we have had webinars in local or regional languages during this springtime on these two themes. So today we have the event in English to summarize these previous webinars, and also we are learning Smart Marina experience, the project that is now about to end. And I think the key for today is, in any case, that having a good discussion that how we can jointly work for cooperation and business for the small ports in Central Baltic region. So as we said, the event is also recorded, so the videos will be later on in YouTube. So I'm warmly welcoming you all for the webinar, and let's have great discussions. And I also know that weather will be better. So here in Eurajoki, Satakunta, it's really rainy and stormy weather, but the sailing season has been starting for year 21, and it will be definitely even better weather for activities in small ports. So Alberto, back to you.
Thank you, Minna. So we will proceed now little by little with the program that we sent. There's been some small changes, but we will get through it. And just as a reminder, you can use the chat on the right side if you want to, if you have comments, if you want to ask something. And of course, you can also unmute yourself with the unmute button anytime if you want to contribute yourself with some questions or some comment directly without using the chat. We really hope to get to some discussion, especially after Kairi's presentation, so that we can, in a way, collect the ideas and comments about what has happened so far and experience, generally speaking, the Central Baltic of the small ports in the Central Baltic. Without further ado, I will just give the presentation rights to Teemu that will start with the highlights from the first webinar that we had in Finland back in February. Teemu.
Yes, thank you. Can you see my presentation?
Yes, we can.
Is it now in right mode?
Full screen, yes.
Full screen, yes. Okay, hello everyone. My name is Teemu Heikkinen, and nice to see you all. I'm here at the Turku at the moment. I just came this morning. We're about to visit the CB CBSmallPorts here in Turku area, or Paranen Archipelago, let's say, Irish and sailing today. So that's why I'm here. But the idea was really with the highlights to go through shortly some points, key highlights from the previous webinars, and my job is to tell us something about the webinar we had in Finnish. Not to say in Finland, but in Finnish, let's say. Here's just to recap the program we had, translated in English. So the nice thing was that we had like 50-50 kind of external internal speakers. So the green one here shows the internal speakers, so to speak, and then the blue ones here are the we had from external speakers. It was altogether quite nice webinar, especially it was quite fast, kind of drawn up, build up. So in that sense, especially. And the highlights really that we had, for some reason, quite good participation, like over 60 people together and about 40 people at the same time. So there was some, clearly when people are like during work hours, there are like some changes during the webinar also that people are coming and going. But anyway, there were like about 40 people all the time there present. And then some of what I picked up was this interesting was from the Miri Rosenberg's presentation, the kind of idea that now that we are with this project, like CBSmallPorts and other Central Baltic projects, that one idea is also there that when we make these investments in ports and new things, they also function as references for boating club ports, which are kind of a big part of the boating, let's say, society. And those are also the places that where the members can really affect on what investments are made in their club ports. So this was kind of, I think, good kind of point, at least for me, that kind of, yeah, this is good thing that they're really there, because all boaters have some home port somewhere, and they can affect on their own home port investments. And then other thing I pointed out here was this, we really had lively discussion during the webinar, especially in the chat, and let's say the one point that was really discussed in the chat was this electrification of boating. There was discussion about that there's like lots of boats are having more and more power consuming equipment and commodities on board, and part of the boats spend more and more time at ports, and also that the electric engines are coming and requiring even more power and infrastructure for charging, and how this all affect to the electricity consumption at the guest ports, and how they should they have some pay-per-use in place there to kind of even the costs, because there are of course costly investments to make, etc. But the technology is basically there to implement. And also there was actually from Kotka-Sapokka, Mr. Ilpo Rinne was presenting the idea from there that they are already investing in electricity, kind of these poles that has this possibility to charge per boat. So they're kind of just a matter of putting it up and running. So the technology release there is just maybe then to how to put the payments in place, etc. What are the costs and so on. But anyway, this electrification will certainly require investments, not only for ports, but only for the grid, probably because most of the ports are, or they might be in island or at the coastal area where there is not that good power cabling many times. Now, one other thing what was highlighted from was this biofouling. Ville-Veikko Intovuori was talking about this. This is also interesting point in that sense also that really that as you see from the picture that if you have both bottom like that, it certainly consumes more fuel than without. So it's also like energy efficiency related issue. And of course, in addition to that, it's harmful to spreading invasive species. And there are different solutions available from bottom washing to different anti-fouling paintings and there's missing some text. I was telling that there are more or less like there are greener and not so green solutions so there are poisonous paintings and then more environmental friendly solutions for bottom unfolding. And then to end that, you can find, especially from this webinar and also the other webinars, kept more material, all the material from our project web pages that you can find both the slides and also the YouTube videos from each presentation, so you can really check it afterwards also. And I have to say I recommend, because I did some rechecking yesterday and it was actually really interesting again to recap a bit. But thank you. That was it from my half.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Teemu. And little by little, we're getting even more people that are joining our webinar. We can move forward and we will move to our Estonian partners to have some insights on the webinar in Estonian. And is it Liina, isn't it, that is doing the presentation?
Hello, everyone.
I will.
About ready to.
Yeah, I will give you the right presentation right if you have something to show.
Just a second. So, do you see the right picture?
We can see your PDF, I think it is.
Yes. Well, I also tried to collect some thoughts about the seminar we had in the end of March, and here you can see it's in Estonian, but the schedule and presentations were mostly very practical. We had one off-grid and one on-grid example of already working examples for solar energy solutions from 2 different harbors, and also some design solutions yet to be implemented in future during this our same CBSmallPorts project. One is to add wind energy solution, and another one is about geothermal heating. So our intention overall was to have emphasis mostly on work package T1, and about T2 to have more like overview about the situation and connections with other projects we have already had. So the idea was more to connect the different projects and to get more value from the information we are using to promote our harbors. Maybe most important things we figured out during our seminar was one thing, that native language is really important in such specific topics, that we had really great overview about basics of energy efficiency in small ports. Presentation was given by Teemu Heikkinen, and it gave good insight to the topic, but then it goes to really tiny specific details. It was really good to have it in your own language. I think it's something to take with us, that to share a common knowledge in common language in English, but then to spread the information to our people in our own language. Then another thing I noticed, that if we are talking straight out all the examples, company names, prices, and we don't try to be too nice or diplomatic, or don't hide this information when it gives much more help to others looking for assistance in these topics. And what else, as I mentioned already, we had the emphasis on T1. So we felt that T2 deserves its own seminar, actually. The topics are quite different. We can connect them, and they are worth connecting, but maybe the audience is a little bit different for each topic, and I feel in our side maybe T2 could have some more interest or more attention. So we had quite good audience, I think. I don't know exact numbers. We used Teemu's Hill for a seminar. Maybe he knows the exact numbers, but if we were discussing about some kind of which country will have more listeners, when I think compared to the population, Estonia is quite the same good as Finland. We were missing that more harbor people were taking part. But what was really good that we had very wide audience among like waterways administration or environmental people, etc. Local governments also really important, and students from a couple of different schools. So it's worth trying to find audience also quite outside from our own people. And what we learned in general is that if the technical issues, which might be a little bit like bothering, but if they have both financial and environmental impact, it is of great interest, definitely. And we also have the presentations as videos available in YouTube playlist. I added a link here, and I'm quite sure you can also find them through CBSmallPorts website. So it's also possible to check them later. And I did notice that there are some tens or dozens of watching already after the seminar. So thank you for this possibility to generalize our seminar.
Thank you very much, Lina. And as Lina said, of course, like this recording will be put online. Minna has already linked our website, for example, in the chat. In there, you can find the record of everything that we've done so far, and you can see the link. You can find the links directly to our YouTube channel, where you can find the actual videos, like from the different webinar we have done so far. So thank you also for reminding that, Lina. We are moving forward now, and we will move going south in the Baltic. We are going to Latvia, and I will give to Julia from Riga Planning Region presenting role.
Yes, good morning. And it really just sounds absolutely wonderful that going to Latvia means going south, especially today with the weather we have here. It's really, really raining. So it is really encouraging that we are in the south. So let it be, please. So, but coming back to the end of April, indeed, we had our seminar held within the Latvian Sailing Ports community here. And we had as well quite a good number of representatives from port. And what was the very best is that after the seminar, we have received really very good reviews, and we have received some additional questions, and we have received as well some compliments to the organizers, which is always very, very nice to have. So we hold our seminar in two parts. Our first part was dedicating to energy efficiency subjects, like everybody. And we had Teemu speaking, and we had a representative from the local energy company Electrum, who was quite specific about available solutions in Latvia, about energy efficiency and as well as renewable energy resources. I would like to agree very much with what our Estonian partners have mentioned, and indeed it is very, very important to have these kind of seminars in Latvia in local language and very targeted. So because having general information is something one, but looking at what's available at the local market brings really value to this seminar and to the people attending that. Our second part of the seminar was dedicated to the digital communication and marketing. And we've been speaking about how to address sailors with the information that is needed particular for them. And I will just mention very shortly the conclusions that small ports are really ready in progression in these energy efficiency solutions. They're interested, they are looking forward to how to do that, how to find maybe additional investments, maybe looking on how to use better the resources they have already. And that's very positive. What we have seen during the seminars have been as well very active discussions and questions, very, very specific. So which brings us a certain trust that ports are thinking about it, and this subject is really of a big actuality at the moment. What we have received questions after the seminar, which was posted like individually from the ports, whether it will be possible to get a certain assistance in individual auditing of the ports. And we think that this is something really desirable to be done, because that will help the ports not only to have a general interest into the question, but as well to maybe to make some special financial planning, what is needed to be done, and maybe looking for some investments. So our advice will be to look forward opportunities of how we could assist our ports in making this energy efficiency auditing. And our third part of the seminar was dedicated to these communication and marketing tools. We've been going through the information which usually is available on the website of the ports, and we've been comparing that to the information that sailors are actually looking while they're planning their trips, or while they're simply looking for some information. And afterwards as well, we have received questions from the ports with the help of providing maybe some photos or map, or giving some tools on how to make their websites better, or how to communicate via the social media better. And this is as well very, very nice. And I would like as well to say that indeed the necessity to speak about communication and marketing within the ports is really very important. Because what we have seen as well during the marketing survey that we have conducted earlier this year, due to many reasons, ports are not thinking about it on a regular basis. So there are sometimes situations that there are seasonal workers, or there are some other busy dates. So the communication is usually left kind of behind, which is definitely not a proper situation in 21st century. So it is really advisable to hold these kind of meetings from time to time, and just to remind the overall ideas of what and how should be communicated in the digital world. And to finalize, this is our happy pictures of everybody who was there. Happy with the seminar. It was sunny day, so we're looking forward for this southern weather as well during the summer. And yeah, that's the kind of as a conclusions. So thank you.
Thank you very much, Julia. Yeah, also in here, as Mina was saying at the very beginning, it's like a not really southern weather, but hopefully we will get a nice summer for all our small ports during the next weeks. We can now move a little bit forward. As Mina said at the very beginning, the idea was to have this final webinar as like a collection of different ideas that we had in the local regional workshop. We had to postpone, unfortunately, the Swedish one due to some technical and some issues with that. But we have already come up, or our Swedish partner in Söderarm and in Bläsen in Gotland have already come up with some new ideas, and maybe they can tell something about that and give like for the first time what is going to happen in the end of August and with whom you're going to collaborate with. Please, Per-Olof.
Yes, thank you. Yeah, as Alberto said, we had to cancel, and we canceled because there were too few participants. I think there was not more like 2 or 3 outsiders that was connected to the meeting. And we took that decision to just drop it. And then we had a long meeting, and we have had many long meetings to try to understand how we didn't catch the listeners. So we have a long list of questions. So we are still learning our lesson. Questions as did we use the right platform? Hill WebEx is kind of unusual in Sweden. That's one point. Time of the year, all ports very busy with fixing all their gears and so on. Time of the day, was that bad or good? And how, of course, how did we market this webinar? We have a lot to think of about that. And the target group, we aimed at 2 or 3 target groups. Maybe we aimed a little bit too high, so that the program was not so clear to understand for each target groups. We don't know, but we are thinking of it. And as a conclusion, we decided to organize a new webinar, and exactly the last day of this period, the 31st of August. And we are cooperating with the RGS. It's a national organization for port owners. It has a couple of 100 members over the whole country. So, and they have an established channel. They are sending monthly informations online. Very good information for every port owner that is a member. So we are sneaking their platform after their ordinary meeting. And by that, we think we will reach our target group in full. So we hope it will manage. We will manage it. Thank you.
I'm sure that it's going to be fine, and it's a great collaboration with that national organization that you have in Sweden. So it's a good way to collaborate and to with other organizations as well. So we really think that it's going to be a success. Let's see at the end of August. Thank you very much to all our partners for this overview on what has happened so far and what is going to happen again in August when the sailing season is about to end and so on. Now, without further ado, I will give presenter rights to Kairi, and she will tell something about their experience with the Smart Marina project as well. That was finished. You had the final conference, if I remember right, was it in January this year?
Yes, correct.
Thank you.
Yes. Please let me know if you can see my presentation.
Not yet.
Not yet.
There's the share button at the bottom of your screen, probably.
Yes, I guess. I try to share it. What is here? Share. Can't be true now. I click the share, but it doesn't actually show me.
You probably have to select the screen or
Yeah,
the presentation.
Yes.
Yep.
Okay, now.
Perfect.
Yes,
Thanks.
very good. Okay, thank you. So first, I'm very, very happy that I could actually be a presenter here. We have in Smart Marina so much experience that I could talk entire day. My name is Kairi, and I have been working in this project as a financial manager, but to be honest, I have been involved in the preparation process. I have been involved in writing, so I know more than only finances about this project. And it was very good that Teemu gave me quite a long list about different things that you think would be useful for your project. So it was very easy just to tick the box like, okay, this I can talk, this I can talk, and there I have a lot of things to tell about. My presentation is built, I will shortly introduce just a project as such, very short, and then continue with harbor's needs, partner view, harbor view, and some challenges that we had, also some tips that we recommend from the project side, how should be and could be done in better way. Our project had 6 partners. We had 1 from Åland, Finland and Estonia, and we had 3 from Sweden side. In total, we had 32 harbors. And the original implementation period was 3 years, but it was extended until the end of April. So meaning that project has been ended now a few weeks. Total project budget was 8.2 million euros, out of which 5.7 million euros was used only for investments. And here, I mean that no project management, no working stuff from the harbor side, but just pure investment, which is quite unique. And I'm sure that all the harbors have been very, very happy to use that much money to just improve their service standards in the harbors. So what we started with was that we started with identification of harbor's needs. It was from different angles, and of course, as we had from the beginning already in mind what we meant with our project, we wanted to have innovative, we wanted to have environmentally friendly project. So we listed those things which we thought and also were requirements in the blue flag, as this was the ultimate goal in our project. And the shopping list that we created was okay, let me see if I can open it just to show and visualize. I mean that visualization is always something that works much better than usual talking. And the shopping list was already consisted of different groups. Let's say the electricity water system. We had a division per different items, units, and the preparation work that we did was that we asked from suppliers, possible suppliers in different countries, to provide us approximate the price, the delivery, the installation cost. So the rest was only just to harbors to click what I need, how much I need, and they receive immediately the budget that, okay, I will fulfill now 200,000 euros. I know exactly what I'm going to do. And of course, it was also asked that that plan B is available, so that in case the changes will appear, they know exactly what to do and just to avoid delays. That was one thing, and of course it was good that we had these real offers, because it enabled us to have very realistic budget for entire project. And the selection was made by Harbours. As I said, that plan B was also available, while it changed during the project implementation, of course. What we found useful was that we made very clear investment principles at the very beginning. Blue flag certification as a goal, set already various criteria. We needed to just tick the box, follow the list that we had in advance also from blue flag, just to see that what kind of criteria there are and what needs to be done at place in the harbours to meet those requirements. It was important to have environmentally friendly and sustainable investment solutions, just to guarantee that the maintenance costs later on will not be exceeded, will not be impossible for harbours, or they just start to think something that would be an alternative while they have invested such a big amount of money during the project. We also wanted to have very clear procurement conditions to be explained to the harbours, and each partner had, of course, their separate approach. We explained during the project meetings that how a lead partner has done, and we proposed a few options, and it's up to the partner then just to find if and how they will help their harbours to meet how to say, the procurement requirements also. It's not very easy for every single harvest to hire a consultant and to prepare all those procurements. So that was an important part. And we agreed on the investment groups. And why that was important is that since the variety of investment was actually huge. So we wanted to have all the harbours list the priority number one, what is their priority, and then it allows also us later on just to make statistics based on group, based on country, based on partner. It was an easy tool later on also for us, for partners. And then we also had a principle of order form. I mean that this was a confirmation by the partner side, so that every harbour, when they decided to have one or another purchase to be made, they needed to get first an approval from the partner side. And what I mean with this is that the order form sets the criteria and requirements. There are contact details for both sides. There are information about the purchase, a sum, invoicing details, payment details, but also the code of the harbour, the number, which is always the unique number for every single purchase, and the signatures, that we actually can see that all the parts have seen this this order form. They know about the conditions. So that was a tool for us to come back whenever we could have had problems. We never did. And then Harbour had a responsibility also for project management. As I said, that these never were involved in the investment budget, which allowed partners or harbours to maximize their investment share. And the evidence material, we also asked them to provide us as in return for the financing from the ERDF. And so it was just a small detail that we required from them. And they did the pictures and videos anyway. So we received their feedback as we mainly asked for it. So now I come back to perhaps the partner view and have the plan and reality system here. The partner view was that we wanted to have a very clear project implementation and timeline, since we had a lot of activities. We had not only travels, but also seminars. We had safety training, various activities, and not only the investment of course too. And what happened was that we never could not have that project implementation timelines as such. It was in EMS, but it never really was the real plan that we actually had, because we had to change from time to time different activities later on, even more due to COVID. But we wanted to have the easily understandable system and just to monitor how far we have come and what is the status of the project, and wanted to have the possibility to integrate the changes as easily as possible. Then the plan was to have the continuous communication with all related parties, and just to inform the general progress of the project, and have a close bilateral contact with all the harbors. Reality was that we actually didn't have that close contact with the harbors. Harbors were contacted us when they had the problems, when they had a question. It was good, of course, and I encourage that. But from the side of the partner, we perhaps should have more contact, more sort of encouraging, just to speed up a few things. And also here, the problems behind why one or another investment activity has not been proceeded. So that's what we learned. We wanted to divide the task and roles. It was basically on partner basis, so we could not do overall division, but had lead partners responsibility over the general progress and communication part, while we could also see that those partners who had only one person in place were quite struggling with all the communication, investment, communication with harbors, then project management, reporting, everything. So that was a really tough burden to them, I would say. And what I can see as a solution here is that if there are, for instance, the monitoring, we have seen later on that monitoring has been one of the major issues that numbers of project partners have not done that. So please ask your lead partner just to take care of the overall monitoring, and perhaps if needed on harbor level as well. So that helps quite a lot just to understand the progress and to see, to help also partners just to take off the burden and give up a continuous update on where these harbors are. We promised to help harbors with most complex steps. Lead partner has just done that. Not all the harbors have selected that way, and few harbors have been struggling with their own procurements. They have done it well, but it just was perhaps extra stress on harbors' shoulders about this project management and the rest to have all the investments coming together. And also the publicity rules, these were important when the harbor had an extra need to have information board, which were quite, let's say, above these that we already prepared for all the harbors. And what we have seen that reality was that if the partner has not asked the LP advice on time, so there are ineligible costs and deductions as a result. And I just recently received one feedback from one of the partners, which we tried to solve, but I really don't know if we can fix this this problem that they have, and it's related to one of them. The procurement has been done correctly, but the payment is something that needs to be fixed, and we just don't know yet how we fix it. So project has ended, but we still deal with the outcomes. Harbor view. What we asked harbors to do is to compile a realistic plan. All the investment activities and investments that will take place during project implementation are important, but the harbor has their own operation running at place. So meaning that they really needed to divide their time between the project and the actual operation. And what we saw later on is that there were certain periods, autumn and winter, when they really put their effort to the investment activities and all what was related to the project. While the summertime, they had their own life. We really couldn't disturb them and ask to do that or that. It was impossible. So we understood that, and we tried to do on our partner side that we prepare everything needed for the upcoming autumn-winter period. And we encouraged partners just to have a discussion about the partners and needs, what they have, and just to identify also the benefits that the harbors will expect at the end of the project. What kind of actions will affect the harbors most? Of course, the investments, but there are a lot of more, maybe the training, maybe the visits to the different harbors. And we did stress the importance of the cooperation within the project. They might forget it, but we just reminded them that how positive actually was the visit to the different other harbors, just to see the development and maybe get a few tricks and tips from the other harbors. So these we asked harbors not to forget when they write feedback to us. We also asked, in addition, to monitor their investments and budget. Few of them have done it really well. Those one who haven't, yes, of course, the partner had the information about it, and we have stressed several times that you have not spent all the budget or so. But you forget it if you don't have it in front of you, and if you don't see it all the time that, okay, I have, let's say, 50,000 which I can use, but I have so many other things, I just forget it. So that's why we wanted to have also another view, and maybe also the 4I principle, that everybody has some sort of check over what they have done so far. And of course, we stressed that the instructions given by respective partners are important to be followed. Be in contact when needed, and we saw just that at the few project partners that we had in the beginning. It was a very, very slow start, and later on, when we had a joint meeting with the partners and harbors involved, it was just speeded up. That was really, really good. But the reality was that, of course, we faced some incorrect procurements with the results as mistakes in reporting and deductions. And since harbors were not contacted as often as we wished to, so there were some wrong decisions made, and in few cases we had to reschedule few things. Even a few payments had to be done one more time just to be correct, as the partner was the one responding and reporting to the Secretariat. Challenges. We had, please remind me if I need to stop. Challenges what we had is that just to create a clear, harmonized structure. It was a very complex task to be done, as we had a lot of things to keep in mind. And we wanted to have the investment flow visible. So the eligibility of cost was important to be guaranteed. And let's see if the investment flow will open here. And lead partner, just to visualize that, is that we wanted to have all the harbors in place. We wanted to see, let's say we can just open one of the harbors to visualize. And we have group of cost. We can see the cost item. We can see later on how these groups are divided in return. And we have, of course, also the inquiry number, which are the unique. We can easily find, okay, per that specific purchase, we have how much cost we have, which period it was reported, and so on. So it was a complex complex system to be developed, but it helped us a lot whenever any of the harbors or partners we just call. So we could just by clicking those things, we could just easily say where they are. And we asked to follow the application, not asked, but we followed the application format. It was just easier for us to report later on, and those changes. It was obvious then whenever the change was necessary, we could identify in which group of investments it will happen, how we can change, and what to be done. And the bilateral communication, of course, continuously. So that was we could see that we could have done it better. And I have just wrote here some of the tips which we thought would be important, not interesting, interesting too, yes, but important. Easy monitoring tool. That was something that lead partner kept to have overview per partner, but also per harbor. And we have a summary every single period. We know the spending, we know the rate, we know how much is remaining. We can go back to the investment, for instance, and we can just see what is the investment spending level at this point of time. And the spending was, now we have finalized that at that time it was just per period, and we knew exactly where we are. So that was and of course you can see that that every single partner has a separate sheet to be monitored. Then procurement procedure in place. But as I said before, that it was important just to inform all the relevant parties to be as specific as possible, but also know about the rules, what they need to do, how it is possible. It's now in Swedish, but it was shared with our harbors on Åland, and just to see what are the steps, what are the conditions, and how every single purchase process will look like. So this was actually shared and was a big help to all of the harbors just to follow the rules in an easy way. The second and the last slide is the technical detail, second challenges that we had. As I said before, that we had an investment division by groups, and we created based on the blue flag conditions. We wanted to have every single group divided, and these were also involved in the shopping list. So the service house, as I showed you before, the harbor and the service house version, so the sums or the prices for different types of service houses were different, and the service house section as a group consisted of various items, as well as the electricity and so on. So every single group is consisting of specific detailed items, and these items were later on included also to the reporting when we reported to Secretariat. So, and these are per municipality. We can actually see what was the budget. Here is the budget at the moment, and the spending is later on provided in those monitoring files. Now the budget, what we also noticed was that we had a budget per budget line, and we also specified some sub-budget lines, which were identified as we saw that these were important. But during the project implementation, we see that a lot of other undefined costs will appear. And so when there are no clear principles in advance, so you might just use this sub-budget line, which actually is important later on, but just you don't recall it at this point when you report it. And that's why we also wanted to have some principles, and we have shared the project partners about those, and we found it very useful. What also was perhaps forgotten was the monitoring flex rule. we had, fortunately, we had a possibility to do the budget change in time so that we never faced. But this is something that we will commonly, forgotten. It just will be forgotten that you need to follow that one too. And that's why the monitoring is crucial in every single project. I speak now as a financial manager. Yes, you understand that. Reporting and payments. So the eligibility principles, we took a sort of the stand that we need to remind in prior of the reporting period, just to remind partners what are the basic principles. They have so much more to do, so they just might forget what are the eligible costs under one or another budget line, and of course remind about the sub-budget lines principles. And then the proof, yes, so these are, but of course I can just show the detailed track on the payments also, what we used in lead partners view was that that per harbor, every single invoice actually is listed, and we can see the price, we can see the date of issue, we can see harbor payment, Smart Marina payment, reporting, but also the actual status when one or another payment has been made. Let's see if we use perhaps the Hamsun that is not here. Here is perhaps one of the finalized harbors, and we can see the total eligible sum all the time up and running, and we know that okay, this particular harbor has completed their investments. Yes, so some tips also, and I recommend project managers to say no from time to time to all the requests that are coming in. You just can't be nice to all the requests that are coming in. And then spending status per harbor and partner, it needs to be updated as a reminder. And use the project guidelines. There will be several questions coming all the time, also to me. And I use quite often the project guidelines, which are very, very well written. And the extract from there or indication where this information lies is important and, much more detailed than I ever can do or extract. Thank you. That's from my side. If there are any questions, I'm happy to answer.
Thank you very much, Kairi. As Esther was writing in the chat, there was some issue with some of the links. Unfortunately, we couldn't see like for what you were showing. I thought it was like, yeah.
Oh my God! Oh my! I'm so sorry. Oh, but I tried to. Yes.
It was really clear, the overall picture, so no worries about that. But some of the links were not working, unfortunately.
Oh, okay. I tried to provide the extract or a screenshot. Yes.
Yeah, that would be great. If it's fine for you, we will share that later with all the participants for the meeting. I didn't want to interrupt you while you were doing the presentation because you were doing like a really nice, good presentation with a lot of tips and guidance also. Thank you very much. And if there are questions, of course, for Kairi, please do not be shy.
Thanks, Kairi. Do we have now the time for the discussion?
Indeed, yes, we do. We will have a break after that, and we'll just replan a little bit the program a little bit.
Okay. Yeah, so thanks for all the presenters so far. So just from the previous ones, just there was some aspects of having the webinars together on this energy efficiency and marketing. So I fully agree that they interlink, but they are also a bit different themes. So why we have currently this set of webinars, it's first of all, we are now working online. And that's why we decided that we are combining the different themes of the CBSmallPorts. So I really hope that as we will have the second set of the events in 22, I really hope that these events will be face to face, because then you have this real interaction also within those small ports. And then for Kairi, thanks for an excellent presentation. And I can say that I feel you. So there's always the great plan that we try to follow, and it's really important to keep up the good management work for the whole project and especially for the investments. So I have been following the Smart Marina project for the whole lifetime, and still you have had some issues, but it has been a really amazing project and the largest one in Central Baltic, the whole program. So still, like, thumbs up for the Smart Marina, and cooperation continues.
Thank you, Minna, for the comment as well. We have now time and room for discussion before we have like a short break to stretch our legs and then continue with the program. So if there's any comments or something that somebody would like to share about the experience that Smart Marina had in their implementation, or the experience that we had in our own webinar so far, you're very welcome to share that. If I can also share for facilitate a little bit the conversation if you want. We can use like a Padlet. I shared it through the chat, and I will get back to the presentation rights. You can just follow the link and write your comment there. Maybe it would help to start a little bit the conversation as well.
Albert, can you share the screen for this?
Yeah, I'm opening it yet now.
Yes.
Yes. Just a moment that it's behind this. Here. Can you see my screen? Yes.
Yes.
On the bottom right, there's that plus button, and you can click on it to add comments, and you can like comments, add more information, whatever you like. Maybe this will help a little bit. Exactly like that. Let's see if there's going to be some more comments on this. And of course, if you want to share like by voice, you're really welcome to unmute yourself from with the button next to your name and share your comments vocally, of course.
I have one question in case those links I have understood that we did not open. Is it possible just to add to the video those extracts later on?
If it's fine for you, we can also share them we can add them to the video or share them through our website, where it's going to be the link to the video also.
Thank you.
As picture, basically, or PDF. Absolutely. Well, I agree with that presentation from Kari was really good and really gave like some insights also for our own project. As Minna was saying, that we are in the middle of the investing especially, so those are really good advice and tips. Energy efficiency, yes, needs and potential seems to be similar in different countries and areas. That it seems to be like we saw them already from the webinar, I think, that we had so far, and I think it's something that it was commonly shared from all of our local and regional ones. In the local language, there are like 2 comments on that. Yeah, it seems that it's something that, in a way, at least for me, reminds a little bit about one of the keynote speakers from the Smart Marina final conference that was saying the importance of the local languages to share information, share experience, and so on, because it's good to have like English as like a common language, and that's really important for cross-border cooperation and so on. But sometimes to reach the actual target, to share more information, it's good to remember the roots and go with the local languages. And sharing experience, this is another comment that is really important. As we know, well, the very name of our small ports, our project is small ports. Small ports are often small and they might not have much experience in many areas, also about energy efficiency, sharing different experience from that point of view, but also from like a marketing. If we go to the second theme of our project, it's a really important aspect. It's probably something that we really need to stress, that like the different small ports, like they are in a way on the same boat, they can share experience, and the more are visible and the more share experience with each other, the more it's a positive effect on the whole area. Then there was this like a question: are language skills important or serving borders in small ports? Is there a need to support small port operators? That is actually a good question. And if somebody has some comments on that.
May I comment?
Of course, of course.
Yeah, so good question. So as a sailor, what I have experienced that it really, and we have been sailing in Finland and Åland so far. So basically, it's my experience relates for the Swedish language that it really varies. What is the language skills of the small port operators? So I have studied Swedish, but I'm not very fluent with that one. So always managing as a boater, but sometimes it might have been good to have, for example, English as another toolbox. So when we discuss about the whole Central Baltic region, so then we have, of course, small ports in Estonia and Latvia and so on. What are the common languages that small port operators can provide, and of course also what the boaters are expecting. So one very potential area is, for example, Germany. So on the other hand, like Germany is a big language area also. So this goes way beyond of the CBSmallPorts discussion, but it's one part of the good service that you are having service with the languages that the customers are expecting.
Yeah, and also from me as a sailor too, the language, of course, to make the guest understand what you're telling. But I think it's very important to have knowings about the surroundings and about the area. When I come with my boat with a broken sail, can you help me find a sail maker to fix my issue? That kind of information and service. That's what I like when I visit a new area. Knowledge, so to say.
It's a really good point. Yes. I think that we don't have any more comments from here, but we had like some of these, in a way, cluster issues here on the screen, like something that relates to our project, to our experience, but also like to what Kairi was mentioning in her presentation. If there's no more comments, of course, we can continue discussion even later on, but if at the moment there's no more comments, we can have a short break, like 15 minutes, and be back at 10:30 Finnish time, 9:30 Swedish time, and continue with the program. As I said, we are going to have a little bit of change, or maybe there is something coming. And of the program, but I will tell more after the break. This is really a good question, actually. What opportunities COVID-19 brings? That's actually really good, and make someone reflect on what could be done differently, what could be just a moment. Yes, what could be done differently? What are the opportunities and the issues for that? Well, the issues maybe are more familiar, but does anybody have some comments on that or some ideas?
I try to give opportunity for somebody else to comment.
Yeah.
Yeah. But in any case, I'm commenting. So definitely, excuse me. Definitely, the COVID-19 has been a big shock for the whole globe. But now things seems to be getting better with the vaccination. Even we are not any fortune tellers, but personally, I think that people are really thinking about also the local or regional tourism, that you don't always have to travel somewhere else to be on holidays. So at least in Finland, there's been also a lot of boats that are sold. So people are buying boats, and there's like a new generation of new people coming for the small port users with their expectations. So I think the small ports and generally this coastal tourism has a huge potential that hasn't been used yet. So the potential for the people from the region, but also people coming from other countries. So there's an opportunity, and I think we are still in the middle of the COVID-19 crisis, but I think there should be the time for thinking how to get to the next steps and use the opportunity. So I hope others also see that there's an opportunity because of this COVID-19 for the small ports. That's at least how I personally see it.
I totally agree with you, Nina. And I have to say that when listening to you, I also was thinking that this situation that we have at the moment for harbors is something that they need to mitigate the risk and just to find another alternatives to the current big number of boaters, and perhaps another thing is that learn the digital tools for marketing, how to market your place. And I hope that there are much more tools and tutorials how to do it in a much better and more efficient way.
Yeah. If I talk about Blaise, we regarded last year, as Mina said, that there's much more local people and visitors. But one thing that was very obvious, we have a fairly good space, so big rooms, and we could serve persons with a big distance between tables and so on, both the outside and inside. And we had a lot of visitors that came here, went further in their trip and came back because they found it was more safer from a COVID situation here. So I think if you think over and prepare a description of it, it is a good thing in the marketing too.
I would like just as well to add, Julia here, that there have been some official reports from the Mediterranean, from the charter companies, that they have faced a big challenge, that people who are used to, let's say, come from the Nordic countries, they have cancelled all their trips because of this uncertainty about traveling. And they have chosen the way the travel that they can actually control, and that's when it comes to the personal cars and personal boats, first of all. So indeed there is a big potential to address these people who are, who are used maybe to plan their holidays half a year before, but at the moment nobody is really taking a risk of doing so. That's one of the things, and I think that what is really good for us in these circumstances is that people are absolutely ready to explore more online. So if before they would rather say, oh no, I should wait for this, let's say, boat show, and then I go and I do something. Now everybody is ready to go online and to discover online. And this is as well a moment when we need to provide as much as possible quality information in the local language that would be helping people to make the choice and to encourage them on how to plan their trips. And indeed, this situation that they are counting on themselves, they're ready to go online, and then they're ready to take these trips in the areas which are relatively close without planning big journeys. So circumstances are good.
Thank you all. These are really good points. Absolutely. I will just but I will just read them out, some comments about these COVID-19 opportunities. Sailing is favored as low risk open air activity. That it's connected a little bit what Julia was just saying right now. And the pressure to develop and implement digital solution will link to innovation and so on. For sure, as we discussed, this situation, despite all the challenges, could lead to ways of rethinking, how small ports present themselves, also the activities, but also from a sustainable point of view, maybe. And then to lead on, there's another question, a reflection. There are many online tools available. How to have data gathered so tools are really used? That's another excellent question.
I would like to comment that, but it's I don't have real answer actually to this, because the tools, indeed, there are so many tools, and there will be more all the time. And just to, how to say, in our project, we also saw that creating one app, which is a lot of effort, a lot of work that we have done, we find it very, very useful. But how to maintain this tool to be live in further, we just don't know that yet. It really needs somebody who is interested and just to keep it developed. But to find the tool that is working for you, it's up to the basic information that you have, and then only then you can find the tool that works for you.
May I comment still for Kairi? I agree, and one aspect for the tools is also that there are some tools that are actually for the small port owners and operators. For example, in Sweden, there's a tool for the port operations, how to handle the business, so to say. And then the other part of the story is, of course, there's many online tools for the boaters. And I think the current issue as a boater, still haven't been to Sweden or Latvia or Estonia yet, is that there's not one tool that would work everywhere. So we don't have there hasn't been any one website, so to say, that would give the whole central Baltic region. And of course, that's something we are trying to do also here in CBSmallPorts, that gathering information from different existing tools and providing a kind of e-platform. But it's getting as a sailor, it's getting really confusing. What is the best tool, which one to use, and so on. And the worst case scenario is that there are a lot of tools developed, and then it's really random who is using which tool. So it's really lose-lose situation in that case.
Not that optimistic conclusion. Lose-lose.
Yeah, we try to have win-win, but this can be really a problematic thing, that if we have this kind of new opportunities for that also COVID-19 is bringing, but if the online communication marketing is really scattered, so there's another aspect is that there's a lot of commercial tools available, and then there are private persons who are making the tools, and then of course many projects have had their tools. So a lot of work done, but information is scattered.
Can I say one comment to this boater's perspective also?
Yes, absolutely.
So my name is Annukka Pekkarinen, and I have been moving around in the central Baltic, or at least the Finnish archipelago region, and I completely agree about the need about one single tool. But I would say that now in the COVID time, it's extremely difficult to trust any information really that is in any tool, because in the end you still need to go to basically the Facebook site or some kind of actually updated online information about the ports or any services that there is. Because even if you have some tool that has gathered the information a year ago or even 2 months ago, it might not be valid at the moment. So thinking of next summer, I really don't think what tool is going to be actually useful for the boaters apart from the actual updated website or Facebook page of each service.
Yeah, thanks, Annukka. And maybe to continue from Finnish aspect, there's for example this Facebook site Saariston Satamat, so the small ports in archipelago. So especially during the summer season, there's a very lively discussion on that current situation. For example, if there's diesel available in all the small ports and so on. But the problem is that that kind of information is there, kind of alive for a moment, and then it disappears. So I fully agree with Annukka that even before the COVID-19, it has been an issue. Where's the updated information? And now it will be even more important also for this coming summer.
If I may say here, there is a good saying that, you know, big problems can be solved by little steps. And we probably within this project, of course, we see this problem of having, you know, some information in one place. But we could take a little task to ourselves to make a little step, which would be to encourage sailors to discover the new destinations, to make a certain gathering of the potential destinations that the sailor might choose. So our task would be to, you know, to provide this encouraging information, which is not that changeable, like Annukka mentioned before, because I mean, the tourist destination places there, some sightseeing is there. We know that the harbors are in a good technical situation, and this is something how we can address the sailors, and we may raise their interest, and thus making whatever platform we're speaking about more lively, and the harbors more lively, because for harbors to be alive, they need to have people there. And raising the interest is this little step that will help to, you know, to establish the network and to make it bigger, to make it more attractive. And this is something that we could do within our project. A little step.
Well, thank you all for your comments and these tasks and reflection that we can take with us and start thinking about, in order also, since we are in the middle of the implementation of our project, also to reflect on that and try to adapt also to these changing times and issues and so on. If there are no more questions, we are gone a little bit further, but I think it was good. We really had a really good discussion about these issues. We could have like a 10 minutes break and come back to the webinar. So around 10:40, 9:40 Swedish time, we could come back and start the discussion, resume this webinar again. So 10 minutes break. Okay, so I hope that everybody is coming back, at least little by little, and had time to stretch a little bit. With all these online meetings, it's always good to have at least a short break once in a while to stand up for the desk. So according to our program, we had to have this live broadcast from the Sailing Fuga expedition, but unfortunately we received news this morning that they are busy with the sailing activities, and probably because of the weather and also because they have like a little bit less crew than expected. So unfortunately they can't join us, but for those who are not familiar with them, they have been collaborating with us for these springtime and summertime, and they will still be collaborating for the next months. And they made a presentation in our Finnish webinar in week Finnish about their expedition itself. What we have been doing with them is what they're trying to do is just to show that there are different ways of sailing and to raise awareness once again about what is the condition and what's the situation in the Baltic Sea and also in the Central Baltic specifically. What we've been doing is to collaborate with them on both of our main areas and teams, like the energy efficiency and also the marketing. We have dubbed them, nominated them kind of CB SmallPorts ambassador, and they've been visiting the small ports in the coast of Finland, Estonia, Latvia, and partly Sweden. Teemu will tell more about their experience from this point of view, that has been following them more closely. What they've been doing is that on our social media, Facebook and Instagram, you can follow some of their route, the small ports they've visited. There are some really great pictures that have been taken during their trip. And the idea was to promote in this way the different small ports of the Central Baltic area as well. And the other aspect about energy efficiency instead is that they are helping us to share information about this survey that we are doing. And Teemu and Jussi from XAMK, they are responsible for that, about the energy efficiency of the small ports. And they've been given like these small cards that introduce a little bit our own project. And they've been handling that around in the different ports that they've been visited. They've been quite fast. They left at the beginning of May, and it seems that they're already back in Rauma, probably already today, if not tomorrow, depending probably on the weather.
Are you
Yes.
showing something?
I will share the link because they have this live stream, but it's not working anymore. But you can follow their experience in here. I will share the link first and then share my screen as well.
We don't interrupt Kairi, but we are interrupting.
Oh, yeah. Please do. You can find probably from here, the Sailing Fuga, I put the link in there, and you can find their live stream. And today at 8 o'clock, they will do some update in Finnish probably. So if you're interested about that, you can follow them there. There is also their own website. It's the other link that I've mentioned. That is in here with all the link to their social network and social media and so on. And Teemu can say something more about their trip and their issues and what has happened.
Yes, thank you, Alberto. Yes, it must be also can be also partly, let's say, due to my bad communication that they weren't, let's say, in that position that they could give the speech on board at the moment. But anyway, situation is this, like Alberto said, and they are currently sailing with not so many people on board. Basically, I think the captain and his daughter is only the crew, and he has to sail. But anyway, the trip really, they really went quite fast from the beginning already. But they did visit from when they started from Rauma to along the Finnish coast to south. They visited like Katanpää port, which is also one of the has been involved in Central Baltic project. Then they visited Saili. Then they visited Hanko, Itämerenportti, and so forth. There were Pärosund, Helsinki, and some smaller, let's say, natural port between Helsinki and Kotka. And then they visited Kotka, Sapokka, and from there they went over the was it Loviisa they were? No, yeah. Loviisa, yeah. Also, and then they went over to other side of the bay. And the Tallinn, then they visited, I think, Kalev Yacht Club, and also then they went to Lennusadam and so forth. But then they really started going fast. I don't know actually what was the reason, but the next stop was Ventspils in Latvia, and already there they had some trouble with the COVID. They could embark, but there was some issues already. But after that, they weren't basically able to embark any of the ports. So that's the reason why they basically sailed and quite far from the coast also. And they were visited in what was the island in Denmark? They visited there, but they couldn't go on shore. They just were there, attached to the pier, but couldn't step off because of the regulations, and same situation was in Sweden, and then they finally came there to Åland, to Mariehamn, where they finally could get on shore and get some shower and stuff. And after that, they slowed down a bit and they visited the Rödhamn. First, they were in Oslo, in Åsas port in Mariehamn, then Åsas Rödhamn. And from there, they went to Tjökar House Pavilion, which has also been involved in Central Baltic project in Portmate earlier. And from there, they basically have now sailed back towards Rauma. I think I can't remember where they stayed last time, but anyway, now they are, if not sailing, at least about to sail from Uusikaupunki area to Rauma. And really, the trip and all has been quite different from what was originally planned. Of course, now when they left, they probably already had like known that it might be that they can't embark, and that was their case. They would have needed negative COVID result to embark, and really where to get that, they couldn't get it anyway. So that was really their case. But in all, they have been sailing a lot, and they also related to one thing that related to energy efficiency. They have had this hydrogen generator also on board, which they have been tested, and I've heard that it's been really working well, and really the captain was telling that it might be like really one of the future equipment on board, really, that seems that it's like so nice, and really just producing some water when using it from hydrogen, getting energy and water out. So it's really poisonless and good for the environment in that sense. But yes, what else? Hopefully for the, let's say, the route B, that they will, after the summer holidays, or I'm not sure actually sure when they will start another route, but the idea was originally that they will go around the Botnian Gulf from Finland to Sweden, and then they from back there from Stockholm to Åland and so forth. Another round, they will, hopefully that will be more successful in terms of visiting the ports also in Sweden side. But yes, that's about what I had in mind at the moment.
Thanks, Teemu. Yes, as Teemu said, they will continue. The plan was that they would have sailed again after the summer holidays, like in August, end of July, beginning of August. We will see after they come back to Rauma what's the situation, and you can follow them, like what is going to happen on their website, but also on our social media channel. I will first put the Facebook link here, and I will also add the Instagram in a few minutes, where you can find, because we are going to collaborate and share information that about their own experience and so on. So you will be updated also there on their plans and what is going to happen in the future. So the program has changed a little bit, but that's what is sailing, as many of you probably know, the sailors in the group, at least. So we can now maybe proceed and go on. And I will once again give the floor to Julia, who will say a few words about what is going to happen or what is happening from a marketing point of view in our project.
Yeah, thank you. Just a little moment, I will start to share. So do you see what I see?
We can see the PowerPoint.
Excellent.
Not in full screen, now in full screen. Perfect.
Now the full screen, even better. Okay, so now let's take a few words about the marketing strategy that we've been working very hard in the last half a year on developing and combining the best what we have had before and what we intend to have. So to begin with, the aims of the marketing strategy that was developed within the project is, first of all, of course, to develop the boating. And we have a very ambitious aim to start to speak about Central Baltic as a single destination, as a small port, so for sailing, and to trying to combine these 4 beautiful countries into one beautiful sailing destination. So as we are speaking about the energy efficiency and all kind of environmental friendly services within the small ports here, another aim is to increase the recognition and attractiveness of this area as a environmentally friendly boating destination. And this, our aim, is a certain response to the more and more questions that sailors are raising about how to sail in a more sustainable, in a more responsible way. And people are very concerned about the conditions of the Baltic Sea. And so we really would like to make this agenda important for our small ports, and to put all together this, demand for being more environmentally friendly and the response that ports can provide. And of course, energy efficiency as a central theme of our project. So we are speaking about the ways how we can make the awareness higher and to bring up all these subjects that would be going together for professionals and as well as leisure sailors. Just 1 second. Yes. So in order to make this marketing strategy, we've been using the materials that have been developed before. So we have looked at the marketing surveys that we have implemented during the first half of the year, and the results and the interests that boaters and the small ports have answered us and gave us some, maybe, if I can say, directions of how to look at this marketing initiatives. So of course we have identified the projects that have been implemented before in the area and the results that they have had, because that's important, that we are not starting from the beginning. We are not here to invent the bicycle again. We just want to continue and to collect the information and the experience that is already gathered in the area. One of our challenging tasks in order to create the network is to identify the small ports that will actually form the network. So here we're still working, and we're trying to see that we include not only the ports which are our project partners, but those who would be important for the area and for the network. And of course, very important is to identify the communication channels that are used before and that we will be able to use as well. So the area is big, and we have had quite a number of discussions before we have came to certain conclusions of the sailing areas that we are going to speak about. And of course, these areas we are mentioning here, they're not the ones that will be fenced with the big, borders, but we're more speaking about how to address the sailor and how to make the information that we have more structured and more easily to find it for the sailors while they will be looking for their next destination. So the network is a big challenge, and to identify and to form the network of the small ports here, we have decided to somehow to divide it into 3 groups. The first one is the easiest one, is our project partners, and we have a number of ports which are doing investments in the energy efficiency, and they're doing very well. We are very proud of them, and this will be a great result that we will be reporting afterwards. The group number 2 is the ports who have had already experienced within the other projects in the area, and those who have already understood what are their needs within improving their energy efficiency. And the group number 3 is the ports that are in the area, but maybe who are not really belonging to the group 1 or group 2, or those who are only planning on doing something better in the field of energy efficiency. So the marketing tools that we're going to use is, of course, as everybody knows, and it is the 21st century. So we like to go online, and we will be speaking and developing the CBSmallPorts platform. The way we are planning to do it is very ambitious. We want to collect the information that is in the air somewhere, and we want to have it structured, very friendly way to be able to find the tourism information, to be able to find some results of these projects and results of the other projects that have been there before. We will be developing an image map of the CB sailing area, which we plan to do a really very friendly tourism-oriented material that would be a certain extended business card, as we have named it within ourselves. That would represent the area as a sailing destination, and that would collect not all of the ports, but let's say the key ports which are important for safe navigation and for developing this image of the area as a very friendly for sailors and interesting from the tourism perspective, so that we are doing this little step towards presenting the CB as a, your next summer destination. And that would be a certain little step towards the challenge that we are having now in addressing those people who are considering going somewhere, but going in a safe way with their own boat and but still discovering something new. We have decided to work on the sailing routes as well, for the same idea, to get to provide some inspirational routes for people with different areas, and so that this sailing routes brochure would be a certain way of helping people to plan their holidays, or maybe not even the holidays, but maybe the bigger journeys that they would plan to discover in the neighboring countries. The sailing guide would be our network, would represent the network of the small ports, and it will be providing the information which is necessary for the sailors, at the same time encouraging to discover, the next port, because there is always a next port in your traveling. Of course, meeting boaters and port professionals is very important, and we are really hoping that we will be able, maybe in winter time, to participate in some boating fairs and meeting those people, participating in the events. Yes, we still hope, and hopefully that will really happen. And of course, digital communication is one of the very important things. All of the materials that we are developing, they will be available online. They will be from the very beginning planned in the way that they are easy to use online, that they are friendly to find the information that is needed. And as a biggest challenge we have is, of course, to find how to address this new normal situations that we are having, because we understand that, we can't just put nice friendly pictures on the internet and then everybody will be just saying wow, because it's not enough anymore. So we are still looking for the new tools of how to address the new normal. So in order to structure our communication, we have identified the kind of target groups which are both professionals and general public. And depending on which group is it, we will be structuring our communication and the information we have. As we have been speaking before, there is a great amount of information in the air, and we need somehow to find the way of how to address and how to structure everything we have so that it really becomes valuable for the reader or for the receiver. So we are planning to address the boaters and, I don't know, sailors or any other who would be using the ports. That would be a general public as well. And here we are putting in this tourism perspective, because of course nobody is really going to discover a new destination just because there is a fancy sauna in the port, but there should be something more than that. But the technical information is very important for the sailor to plan the journey and to plan the sailing, because we all know that it should be, first of all, safe navigation. Then, of course, we would like to address the small port professionals. We have gathered a lot of expertise on energy efficiency, on environmental friendly initiatives that could be implemented in the ports. And this is something that we believe ports are really needed to have. Maybe there is a certain understanding that, you know, we have enough, but whenever there is opportunity to learn from your neighbor or from your neighboring country, that's something which can bring the existing services to the better, to the higher level. The gaining information we have here is, of course, interesting for the project professionals and educational institutions. That comes both to the experience that we have gained during the project implementation, but as well we are collecting, you know, communication with other professionals, and they're ready to share their information. And it's very important that this knowledge and experience that we gain during the project, that it doesn't stay within this, you know, club of project partners. So we are from the beginning thinking of how we will be addressing those who might find our experience useful for their growing. Stakeholders. Of course, the ports are not functioning alone. They have their stakeholders. We, as a project partners, we have our stakeholders, and established and well-targeted communication will help to get everybody understood of what we are doing and why, and maybe to get a better work together. The results. The results, of course, we are really interested to see the network. This is our aim, and this is something what we want to have, the network. And the network is not something that we see only on the map, but that would be a real tool for the port professionals. You know, they would know each other, they would know about what is the neighbors doing, they would know their neighbors, maybe not in person, but at least they would know that there is a next port, and they can ask for some technical advice, for example, or they can have some matching experience. So the network is not only about, you know, drawing a map on the paper, but it's about establishing a real connection between the ports. As we've been speaking, the 21st century and the COVID times requires being online. So we are working on developing this online platform, which would be interested and suitable, which is the most important. So about services, about tourism destination, I don't know, inspiration, everything that could be, we will try to put it online in a user-friendly way. And yes, sailing destination of the Central Baltic. That's a very ambitious maybe, but at the same time, step by step, we start with our countries, we start within our partnership. So introducing our partners to our countries slowly and speaking to local community about the opportunities that they have for sailing in the neighbors, and thus slowly it will create a very good understanding of what it is, the sailing destination in the Central Baltic. And of course, energy efficiency. So we are aiming in increasing knowledge and gathering the existing tools of how to do it. That's very shortly what I wanted to say today, maybe not too much into details, but in a kind of giving the general lines of how we see the communication and marketing within the project. Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Julia, for the presentation. I think that it covers like the activities, what I've been doing and what is going to happen. So thank you very much. We're going to move forward with our program now, and Jussi Sutala from XAMK will tell something more about the current situation of the investments and in our CB small ports. Jussi, the floor is yours.
Thank you, Alberto, and hello to all. Greetings also from Turku, where I'm sitting with Veijo and Teemu. And as earlier we discussed about the influences with the COVID, and this is the first time I'm meeting these guys, so this is some good example about the situation and the influences. So I'm gonna share my screen now. Let's see. So it should be now on the full screen mode. Do you
it's
see
in
it?
preview mode. You should change the
Teemu's gonna help me out. He's got different setups than in my own computer. Now.
Yeah, perfect.
Yeah. Let's. Yeah. Okay. So, welcome on my behalf also. I'm representing Southeastern Finland University of Applied Sciences, also known as XAMK. And XAMK is leading the work package T1, which includes the investments and the energy efficiency of these small ports in this project. So my topic today is to tell you about the current situation of the investments. So 20 minutes of full information. Let's go. Let's see. Yeah. So firstly, a bit about the investing ports and their locations. There you see a map, and the green dots are the investing ports in our project. Firstly, there's in the Archipelago Sea area 2 ports, Airistostrand and Seili. In Gulf of Finland, 3 ports, Keihässalmi in Pyhtää, Sapokka in Kotka, and Tervasaari in Hamina, and those 3 ports are in under my belt, so I'm managing the investments there. Then in Sweden, we have 2 cases, Plese in Gotland and Klaxöarna in northern part of the Baltic area. Then in Estonia, a bit more ports. You can see there, EVAC is Estonian Small Harbour Development Center in English, and in Hiiumaa 3 ports. So that's the port network we have here investing investing in energy efficiency cases. So what are the targets for the investments? There's a boring table about that, but it tells a lot about the different cases we have here. Just to pick a few from there. Let's see. Well, the most popular one is probably the solar power plants. There's a lot of those investments going on. Also the lighting ones. The lighting is absolutely in top 3 investments, but also floating piers appears there, and those pedestals to the piers. Those might be the top 3 or top 4 investments. Also some special ones. Let's see, in my area we are modernizing a power line from air cable to underground. That's a pretty special. And also in Sailing they are renovating saunas, and today we're gonna go with Veijo and Teemu to look those saunas, and also one investment in wind generators, and a bit special one in Söderhamn freshwater well. Those are maybe the top picks from the investing list. Also in Kalev Yacht Club, the heating system renovation from gas heating to ground heating system is going on. So it varies a bit from place to place, but that's the main line from the investment side. Let's go further. And there's a table about the distribution of the euros and the investments. Totally about 800,000 euros in the investment case, and it divides so that almost half of those goes to Estonia and a bit smaller pieces to other places. But bear in mind, it's almost 800,000 euros, so a big sum for energy efficiency investments in this project. So the topic was to tell you about the current status of the investments, and that's a bit tricky and difficult questions. I made a table for you. It seems like a bit boring, but it in colors tells you what's the situation in those 4 stages of the investment process. Firstly, we are doing plans and drawings about the cases, then gonna decide and select the product we're gonna take, then make the procurement process, and lastly purchase and install those things we are gonna buy. So basically Sailing and Pleasure are the most advanced ones at the moment. The planning and drawings and the decision making has made in all the cases, and the yellow color represents the stage which is still ongoing. So we are going quite good towards the targets, and basically we have this summertime to complete these investments up I think it was up until November in some cases to finish this investing package. So we are progressing quite nicely. So I took here a few examples about the progress. I got few like fresh photos from a couple of those ports, and gonna show those to you today. Firstly, Sailing, which was on green all the way in the four step stages. So it's a small port in Pargas, Finland, and the planned investment was to renovate the saunas, and the budget was 33,000. And there's two saunas, beach sauna, a bit smaller one, and a course sauna, a bigger one. And the basic idea was to renovate those saunas and change the wood burning stoves to electric ones, and also renovate the floors and so on. And here's a couple of photos from there. The left side is the before picture, and the right side is the after, and it seems like still to be a bit messy there, but it should be at the moment finalized. So we're gonna see and take the newer ones today, the newer pictures. But that was the idea. They have earlier made a big solar panel plant there, so that's the reason to change the wood burning stoves to electric ones, and it's a bit more reliable. You don't need to put the woods to the stoves and so on. That was the reason to renovate the saunas. That was the case in Sail. Then I took Pleese. Next, on the background you can see the aerial photo from Pleese, a small harbor also, and the idea was to renovate quite many objects there. There was make a big solar power plant. Another idea, it happened already. 3160 kilowatts, and put the pedestals on the piers, use and build a set base from the power plant, of the building, and also the pedestals on here. So Pleese was also on green on the steps, so there's almost everything done already. Then Airistostrand, also in Pargas, which we're gonna visit today also, and the plan was to make new piers and also a solar power plant. Budget almost 160,000, 2 piers and pretty big power plant, 22.5 kilowatts. It's still ongoing process, the procurement process for the solar power plant, but the piers are already there. That's the picture from the old ones, old piers, and there's a couple of photos from the new ones. So these are the new ones, and seems quite nice. Another picture from the new pier. So Airisto is also progressing nicely, and the power plant is another thing to still do there. Then I took Sapokka Kotka. This is one of my favorites because my own boat is there, and we spend a lot of time in Kotka. Kotka on the background, you can see the picture from Sapokka during a maritime festival. So it's heavily crowded during July there. And the plan was and is to make a solar power plant to the roof of the sauna building there in the middle. The size is about 12 to 13 kilowatts, and it's in procurement process at the moment. And the second part of the investment is service posts or those pedestals to the visitor pier, and there's gonna be light, water, and electricity in those pedestals. So that's also at the moment in the procurement process. There you can see a picture from Sapokka in the middle the pier and also on a building, which is going to be the base for those panels later on this summer. and another picture from the pier area. There you see the new piers and probably pretty small, but there's those cables coming out from the pier where the pedestal's gonna come later on. So things progressing there also quite nicely. Also Tervasaari, which I got newer or fresh photos, which is also under my belt in this project. LED lighting was and is the plan to invest there 25,000 euros, and it's a part of a larger pier renovation investments, and also where there's a wholly new park building up in Hamina part of the pier investment. So it's a €1 million business there, but this is a small part of that. 13 new lampposts to the visitor deck or dock area. There you can see a satellite picture about the area. They are building the new park there, but our investments involves the red circle in the middle of the screen, and there's gonna come those 13 new lampposts. And that's the picture. It was, I think, last week I visited there, and the deck is ready. And on the right side you can see those also cables coming out of the ground. So that's the place the lampposts gonna come later on. I think it's gonna take a couple of more weeks to finish the whole thing there. So it's progressing also nicely. So this was the examples I have for you about the investments at the moment. So we are progressing, not evenly, but still progressing nicely in all the countries and with all the investing partners and ports. I want to thank you and wish you a very nice boating holidays and boating season all over the Baltic area. Thank you.
Thank you, Jussi, for the presentation. We could get like an overview of everything that is happening and has already happened and what's ahead. And as you said, there's like some representative from the Finnish partner in Turku today, and you will visit the investments and take some pictures, nice picture of the new investment in Airisto and in Saili as well.
Yeah, hopefully it's gonna get the weather a bit brighter than it's at the moment.
Exactly. It's the challenge this year. Well, today with the weather, but with the pandemic and everything, difficult to visit and to take pictures and to share this view. But hopefully, with the summer, we will be able to get this information out on what has been done so far. Thank you very much. Okay, I think that we are proceeding little by little towards the end of this webinar. If you have noticed, I've added some links in the chat about our social media, and at the very beginning, Teemu also added Minna added the website for our project. And please follow us and keep you so that you can keep yourself updated on what we are doing, what the investment status, and what is going to happen in the future. And the recording from this webinar, alongside at least some of the presentation, will be added to our website. So we will share this information so you can get back to what we've been discussing and all the nice discussions and reflection that we have been having in these past couple of hours. All right, Minna, would like to say something? I saw your face there.
Yeah, just a few comments. So first of all, thanks for great presentations, Julia and Jussi. And related for the Sailing Fuga, general comment that it has been still really quiet in the small ports now for the May. So those who have been following the Sailing Fuga expedition on the Baltic Sea, it's been really quiet. So let's hope that the weather is getting better and also boaters are able to start sailing, even it's still under the COVID-19 situation. And any case, this is about the cooperation and meeting people. So I think Jussi didn't mention, but Jussi was able to meet the Sailing Fuga in, was it in Sapokka? So that's
it was in Kotka in Sapokka, yeah.
Yes, so that's a nice example, but also for our partnership, to my knowledge, Jussi and Teemu, you are meeting face to face today, first time ever, and you are heavily working with the T1 on energy efficiency. So somehow it feels also hopeful for me that we are not just working a distance, but we are able to work face to face together. So I hope you will also have a nice excursion today to Airisto and also to Saili.
Yeah, it's pretty special. Thinking I'm meeting this guy for first time in a year or almost a year, so pretty special one, including this webinar, but also meeting face to face.
Yes.
We are happy that Teemu is also saying yes.
Teemu is a yes man here.
Yeah. Remember to take a selfie together that you are really in the same place, face to face.
Of course, social distancing selfie. Right. I think that would be it for today. And we would like to thank you all for joining us, all the partners or the guests, and for the nice discussion that we had. And wish, as Jussi said, we wish everybody like a nice sailing season, a nice summer and sunny summer, hopefully starting quite soon. And basically that's it. Thank you very much for joining us, and have a good summer.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you. Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.
Ja, det var livet.